Here we are, Tuesday the 18th, technically 2 days after Ironman. As you can see, I'm still pretty beat up. I will be posting the race videos and pictures and whatnot a little bit later when I have some more time. Just wanted to kind of go over like a race recap, if you would. For those of you that know, the race started off with the possibility of them canceling the swim. I believe they were talking about doing that on Thursday or Friday. If it was going to rain, I guess there's a problem with Tempe Town Lake and bacteria. So anyway, I think Saturday I just literally sprinkled maybe 25, 30 minutes on and off. I was doing that while we were dropping the bike off on Saturday. Part of me wanted it to be canceled because of my shoulder problem, and part of me, the bigger part of me, didn't want it to be canceled because then if I did finish, I wouldn't have felt like I did the full Ironman. And to be honest, after doing the swim, the bike, and the run, if I felt like I was during the run and I didn't do the swim, I probably would have quit, because the meaning of me doing this would have been diminished because it didn't include all three disciplines. So I'm very glad that it didn't rain. My pacing was to survive. I was not trying to beat anybody, obviously. The first one, you just want to see if you can do it. Now we'll get better from here. And you always race yourself. Anyone who's done anything big like this knows you're not really, at least in my point of view, you're not really racing somebody else, you're racing you. I think that's the best viewpoint to have on doing anything like this is you are competing against you and trying to be better at what you did prior. At least that's the way I do it. Those of you that are able to compete with other people and whatnot, good for you. I save that in drag racing or other automobile type forms of racing, where I feel like I'm more competitive, because that's my natural ability is reaction time. So I woke up Sunday morning, 3:30, had a scratch in my throat, my nose was plugged. I honestly felt like I was coming down with something. Got ready, ate breakfast, no big deal, just like any other race. Showed up ready to go. Wetsuit was perfect. As you can hear, I'm worse today than I was then. Tempe Town Lake is not nice to you as far as getting a sore throat or nasal congestion. Every time I've swam there, I've come out with some kind of nasal or respiratory type issue. As you can see, like I was saying, about a month and a half ago, my hair was falling out. Doctor, blood tests, everything came back 100% training stress. Even my face started to lose the brown colored hair. Just decided to evacuate from my face. Arms and legs, I don't know, because I've been shaving every bit of me since I started this process about 2 years ago. So anyway, back to pacing. I decided if I could make it out of the water with my shoulder in around the 2-hour mark, then I legitimately felt like I had a shot in doing this. So got out of the water, felt dazed and confused. Anybody that swam that long, it takes a minute for you to get your bearings as you come out of the water. So I wasn't very stable when I first got out of the water. Got my bag, went into the tent. The stripper stripped me off of the wetsuit, no problem. That was great. Kind of hurt myself when I went to sit down because I smacked my tailbone on a cabinet right before I made the video of me making my rocket pudding, which is another video on my channel if you haven't checked it out. By the way, that was 90% of my fuel doing this. just about every 15 minutes until I got a little delusional on the run. I was pretty consistent with that fuel delivery system. Worked perfect. I really would like to figure out how to market this stuff, make it a little bit more shelf stable without using chemicals that I've talked about on my other channel, Dan All Over the Place. So anyway, got out of the water, got my bike stuff on, and headed off on the bike. As I was coming out of Tempe Beach Park, the leaders of this race, who unbelievably fast, were already flipping the Yui on Mill and Rio Salado to do their second lap. And I'm, 2 hours and maybe 25 minutes into the race when this happened, and they had already swam and done a 37 or 38 mile loop, and we're getting ready to go for number 2. I was just absolutely flabbergasted. So I was able to watch basically from about third place on, just flying past me. Rio Salado Road, by the way, needs to be repaved if anybody in Tempe is listening. That road was absolutely a nightmare. Going through the construction on McKellips wasn't that big of a deal. They had at least cleaned the rocks and stuff off that I had drove through a couple of days prior, because I do live here in Scottsdale. So I do go up and down McKellips pretty regularly. They did a nice job cleaning that area up. Sorry, I'm trying to cross my legs. I'm still very, very, very sore in my legs, arms. Feel pretty good. Shoulders a little sore, but not as bad as I thought it was going to be. So anyway, that newer paved section of McKellips was an absolute dream. Like, probably my favoriteest part of the course. Very fast. Whoever did that asphalt, pure genius. Probably the best paving job on city street around here I've ever seen in a very long time. Anyway, there was a nice tailwind going out to Shea, which was great. I was doing probably 19, 22 miles an hour for most of the way up until you hit that steeper climb right before the Shea turnaround. Coming back kind of sucked. Beeline's not the greatest road on the planet, as all of you know. A lot of debris on the side of the road. They did clean it up pretty good, though. And we were riding in the, let's see, that would have been westbound side of Beeline. Anything past Gilbert down until you got on that nicely paved part of McKellips was just brutal. McDowell's not that great either. There's a bunch of big potholes that they didn't really mark very well. And forget McClintock. McClintock, I saw one crash and it happened on McClintock. I'm not quite sure what happened, but I think somebody was dodging some of the yellow paint on the ground, and they collected wheels and went down probably 300 yards in front of me. Didn't quite see it because I was trying to save my neck and looking more down in my aero bars than up like I usually do when I'm riding for training. Anyway, all of that worked great. Perfect. Do the 3 laps, come off the bike. Feeling pretty good. I planned all of my fueling very well on the bike. Ran out of fuel probably about 40 minutes before I thought I would. So I did have to take some of the aid station gel packs, and I think I did a couple of the bars just as a precaution as I was coming back around to my rider needs bag, which had the rest of my fuel in it. Stopped there. I had some extra chamois butter. Actually, the ASOS cream is what I use. Reapplied that. Absolutely perfect timing. I did, however, have some of this gum that This is not a shout out to this company, but I did put a couple of pieces of this gum in my rider's needs bag. And I don't know if you guys have ever tried this, but I did this on the run and I did this on the bike. Chewed it for about 5-10 minutes and then discarded it in the proper bin, if you would. Really kind of refocus my head as you start to kind of drift off into that negativity of what you're doing, and you're fighting your demons. Anyway, got off of the bike, went in transition, got in and out of there pretty quickly. The way that they have this organized is great. You give your bag to somebody, they take it and put it where it needs to be so you can collect it afterwards, which I thought was genius. Most triathlons that I've done, you put your stuff next to your bike and it's all in a big pile of shit. And whoever's sitting next to you generally moves it, bumps it. I've had people take stuff of mine, think it was theirs, whatever. Anyway, 2 miles into the run, I'm like, I need my special needs bag. I need some ibuprofen. I am dying. I need my knee brace. Well, I found out that I passed it already. I wouldn't have access to it until the start of the second lap. So this is the point that if the swim was not part of this, that I would have probably quit. Because I didn't have the swim part involved, and it wouldn't have been a true full Ironman. Even though Ironman considers you an Ironman, I would have completely bailed out of the race. So I did the first lap, came back, got my special needs bag. Very nice volunteer helped me get onto that step across from the special need bag space. Took off my shoes, swapped out my socks, put on my knee brace, grabbed the rest of my fuel that I had in there, but what I could put in there, grabbed some of that gum that I just showed you, started chewing that, took some ibuprofen, and continued. Did second lap, came back for the third lap, and Lisa knew that I was really having problems. I think it was about 9:09 when I started my last lap. By the way, Ironman, you needed one more light at the top end of that east side of the run. There was a section of that where I could not see where I was running in the dirt. That was kind of difficult as the night went on. Lisa ran with me for a bit, walked next to me, kind of pumped me up. I wouldn't have been able to do this without that encouragement. Oh, speaking of encouragement, what I was wearing, I specifically picked that out so that it would be very noticeable to the spectators. I knew that I was going to need a lot of energy from the spectators to complete this, and what I was wearing worked perfectly. I got more compliments and more cheers than I've ever had in any race before, just wearing my team kit with one Multisport and or Race Lab prior to that. So my outfit was perfect. Thank you for everybody that complimented me, including fellow competitors. I specifically picked that for that purpose, was to try to get energy from the spectators and competitors that I was running with, and it did work. So as I finish up the second lap and start my third, I was really starting to have some problems. My muscles were not wanting to push forward. I was having to walk more than I was running there for a while. And I was doing math equations in my head, trying to occupy my brain so that I didn't focus on the pain that I was going through. So I was constantly trying to figure out the pace I was running, what time I was going to finish, was I going to be eliminated due to the cutoff, and that kind of played out most of the rest of that run. As I got up to Curry Road, and I believe it's College, I got some chicken broth and started to run up Curry Road toward Mill Avenue. And I don't know if you guys have seen the movie The Rundown, where the Rock and that guy from Stifler, um, the guy from American Pie are in, where they get that fruit that somebody gave them and they're knocked out and laying on the ground, and the Rock starts screaming, "I want to go home, I want to go home, I want to go home." Well, I was doing that as I was running up that hill because I wanted out of there. I picked up the pace and started doing about 13, just under 13-mile or 13-minute miles, I should say, and got up that hill and then absolutely started to come apart going down the hill into the parking lot back to Tempe Town Lake. I started doing the math. I was walking at 21-minute miles, and I told myself, if you do this for the rest of this, you're going to be eliminated. They said, we'll walk faster. So I got to 18-minute miles, and I'm like, see, there you go. You're saving 3 minutes a mile now. Over the next 3 miles, that's 9 minutes. So then I started running again, and I'm like, oh, hey, look, you're running 13-minute miles now. That's another 2 or another whatever it was, 13 from 8, and another 4 minutes in miles. So I continued to do that until I came into the finish line shoot. I really thought I was going to be a little more emotional than I was. I got a little teary-eyed as I saw the chute, and it turned to the left, but that lasted maybe 10 seconds, and then I was so discombobulated. I was hallucinating. Kind of felt like I was trick-or-treating, because each one of those aid stations felt like it was a house with the lights on, and I was going to see if I could get candy. Very, very bizarre, almost like a dream state of running, just trying to get to the finish line. Across the finish line, I had no idea where Lisa was. I didn't hear her. I didn't see her. I walked around looking for what felt like 5 minutes, and it was probably maybe 30 or 40 seconds. Anyway, was finished. They gave me the medal, got my shirt, got the hat, and the rest of the night was pretty much a blur. Got home right before 1 a.m. Monday morning. Literally had to crawl up the stairs. It probably took me, what seemed like 5 minutes to crawl up the stairs on my hands and knees. Got into bed, and I absolutely croaked. Oh, I took a shower because I was completely covered in lake water, goo, snot, whatever else you accumulate during these races. Yesterday I was an absolute nightmare. I could barely move. We went back to Tempe Town Lake so I could get a couple more items of merchandise, because I have a rule about buying this stuff before you finish it. I think it's a curse. So anyway, got that stuff, got back, and absolutely crashed. So this is the first time I've had enough energy since then to sit down and just cognitively think about everything that happened within the race. So, torn rotator cuff, broken toe, and a problem with this knee that we're going to be looking into. But I did it. 16 hours, 18 minutes, 23 seconds. And those of you that were there cheering on and whatnot, I was number 871. So many of you were screaming and yelling, telling me I looked great in my kit, and I had the best one of them all. So I appreciate every one of you cheering me on, especially my fiance Lisa. If it wasn't for her, none of this would have happened. So that's the race recap. Thanks for watching the channel. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye.